Hello guys, in this short video, I'm going to teach you how to cast your chart in the traditional ancient house system called whole sign houses. Now, the first thing I want to mention is this a traditional house system is still used today in India, and it is the way astrologers practiced astrology 2,000, 3,000 years ago. We lost contact with the information of the traditional Hellenistic astrology practice. And the reason we lost that contact is that information was coded in manuscripts that were in Greek, Latin, Coptic and Persian languages, and some of that material was translated in Project Hindsight in the 1990s by a three Robert team of multilingual Western astrologers. So we have recovered lost knowledge, although in India they retained that knowledge. And there is evidence that India and ancient Greek astrologers interacted with each other and shared their knowledge. There's a strong possibility, as the Greeks do report, that they received their astrological knowledge through the Egyptians. Now, first thing we want to talk about is the Western Tropical Zodiac is a symbolic zodiac, not real. Real zodiac is called sidereal, which is the astronomically accurate sky. This is a symbolic sky pinning itself to 0 degrees Aries on the vernal or spring equinox, and usually that's around the 20th, 21st of the month of March. Just reminding you, this is Western tropical astrology. Now, what happened in the absence of knowledge is many different house systems were developed, and one of the main ones we use today is called Placidus. It's the default modern astrology house system. Unfortunately, that house system is based on the latitude of birth in terms of skewing your chart. That you may, for instance, be born in Alaska or the North Pole or down south, the tip of Africa, or south down near Antarctica. And the further you go north and south of the equator, the more likely you are to have what are called intercepted signs, in which a whole sign is embedded within a, like, for example, you could have a Pisces whole sign squished in one whole house. In this case, it would be a house that starts with, obviously, the sign before Pisces, which is Aquarius, and after, which is Aries. And suddenly you've got this Pisces whole sign wedged in one house, or you could have one house with 3 different signs. So this doesn't make sense and it doesn't work. Now, my own astrology chart doesn't work with this anymore. I cannot even look at my Placidus. It does not describe my life at all. To give you an example before we go on to showing you how to do this, I was born with nothing in my 3rd house. This is the 3rd house of journalism, scrying, divining, crystal ball gazing. And this is what I do. I was a journalist. I was a psychic medium. I'm now an astrologer. And now I have a stellium of planets in my 3rd house in Aries. But before, everything got skewed from my high latitude of birth in northern Canada, and that didn't show up. And my chart had never made sense to me because of that. So that I'm not going to go into the lecture about why I think whole sign houses is the best, but at the very bottom line, in order to use traditional Time Lord tools, in which there is a sign and a whole house and one planet that rules it, you get all confused when you're looking at Placidus, because you may end up with, like, as I said, Pisces, like I had that wedged between 2 signs, not having its own house. Jupiter rules Pisces, and then Jupiter has no particular rulership out of one of my 12 houses. Now, you can probably use astroseek.com, but for brevity, I'm going to show you how to do this on astro.com. So let's move over right now to astro.com, and this will take a very short time. Pause the video if you need to look at again closely what I'm showing you. I'm just going online and I'm just going to share with you what it looks like when you first go to the website called astro.com. Now, this is a very useful website for many reasons, and AstroSeek is even more useful once you go down the astrology rabbit hole, and they both allow you to cast your chart in what we call whole sign houses. Now, I'm going to say, if you're brand new to astro.com, please just Google how to use it, right? I just want to show you the house system, but I could go to horoscopes, right? And I can create my own horoscope. I can create a free account here that lets you store up to 100 different astrology charts of friends and family. So I'm already in there because I've been using this for years. So I'm not going to start from scratch. Pretend you started to create your horoscope, and then after you've made it, you can change your house system. So I'm going to go onto the horoscopes. I click that with my little cursor, and I'm going down, 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 down to what's called extended chart selection, and clicking extended chart selection. Now I'm going to pull up a chart. There's somebody called Jenny No last name, so I'm not giving away any client information. And you'll notice that if I circle here, the default house system, the house system is default. You do not want to use default. That will be Placidus. Click on that and drag your cursor down until you see the word whole signs. Okay, not whole 1 equals Aries, whole signs. Click whole signs. Now, once that is embedded, and you can set that for your default house system if you like, then you click show the chart. And now you see you have a chart of somebody named Jenny, and it is in whole sign houses. Whole sign houses, one whole house, the first house, is Cancer. Her ascendant is floating at 27 degrees of Cancer in a whole sign house system. The second house is one whole sign Leo and 130-degree Pisces, where her north node sits. This is your third house. It is a Mercury house, and it is one whole sign house, is one whole sign Mercury for the third house. And by the way, Mercury is ruled by Virgo whole sign house is ruled by Mercury. Leo whole sign house is ruled by the sun. Now, if we didn't do it this way and we went back again, I'm going to just go back to where we were. I'm going to go back to the beginning of what we were in. I think it'll let me just go backwards to Jenny. Let me just try going back to chart selection. I'm just moving us back, and I'm going to put the default house system back in place. I want you to see what kind of difference it can make. This person was born in England, so it may be quite significant. As we'll go to default Placidus. Now in Placidus, you may notice that all of a sudden her first house is a tiny little wedge, and it starts here in Cancer. Don't forget, she is a Cancer rising. Her whole house is Cancer rising in traditional whole sign houses. And unfortunately, because she was born in the north of England, this high latitude suddenly skews it where she does not have much of the Cancer in her first house. She has an ascendant at 27 degrees of Cancer. In whole sign houses, it just floats in a whole sign first house. And all of a sudden, her first house is 3 degrees of Cancer. Oh, I don't know. That looks like another, 16 to 12 degrees of Leo. Right? I mean, before we get to the second house cusp. What a hot mess is that, really? What a hot mess. Suddenly her house, her first house is 3 degrees of Cancer and a mere 12 degrees of Leo. And how do you do Time Lords for that? Do you go, oh, the Time Lord, the ruling planet of my first house is the moon and also the sun? So I'm not going to lecture you on this. I think Placidus has some uses for cusp timing markers, maybe, but it's not the ancient system, and you have no Time Lords. All right, thanks for listening. Hopefully that is an easy explanation on how to do the chart. You be the judge of your sky. Understand, I have converted like a zealot to the whole sign house system. I find Placidus rather useless, but that's just me. You may do your own investigation and see what works for you. This is Lori Lothian of Lunatic Astrology. Check me out at lori@lunaticastrology.com. Lunatic Astrology at YouTube, and my Padaya is Padaya. Oh, just find me Padaya Lunatic Astrology, and my Patreon community is patreon.com/lunatic astrology. Thanks, guys.